This is Jonathan Agatha for Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Joe Gallagher here at the final press conference for Chris Eubank Jr against Liam Smith. Joe, how was your Christmas and New Year?
Yeah, good, thank you. Obviously we were in Japan in December, but we came back and managed to have a little break, and here we are now ready to start 2023.
How do you sum up last year for you and the gym? Some really good performances and wins and some historic fights, but how would you sum it up as the head man there?
Listen, a fantastic year. This time last year we were preparing for Macaulay McGowan to fight Sergio Martinez and Natasha Jonas for a first world title fight, and here we are a year later. Natasha Jonas, world number one, 3 world titles, ring belt. I know people say a difference a day, a week, an hour makes, or what a difference a year makes. A fantastic year. We had Natasha Jonas ending the year, as I said, with all the belts. Paul Butler becoming a 2-time world champion, and people don't talk about much, one of the best performances by a British boxer in a ring last year. He was textbook, and won that, then was involved in a history-making undisputed fight out in Japan at the end of the year and acquitted himself well, and unfortunately got stopped in the 11th round, but he did a lot better than what many suggested. Mark Heffron absolutely finally broke through, showed everyone what it was all about, beating Lennox Clark for the British and Commonwealth. 3 fights, 3 wins, 3 knockouts, and ranked now in all the governing bodies, top 10. I'm looking for him to have a good year. Marcus Morrison in the shootout with Denzel Bentley, that was a good year as well. Jose Burton back at cruiserweight, 2 fights, and then like I said, we had the development of Sean Yaxley now, who's 12-0, Clark Smith 3-0, Callum Johnson, big things for this year, 5-0. So yeah, I don't think I've missed anyone out, but I think it was unfortunately it was the retirement of Callum Johnson that put a bit of a dampener on it, but it was a very good year and one we're looking to build on in 2023.
Obviously, Joe, we've got a big fight next weekend. I think everyone's looking forward to Petreviev against Yard. Is there, do you think, have you spoken to Callum? Maybe he could be tempted to fight either man who comes through? No. Callum won't do light heavy. He was finding it hard at the end and making weight. I think he did a podcast with Dev this week on BT, and Callum Johnson's enjoying life at the moment. He's doing a lot of that CrossFit stuff. He's like 16 stone. He's not 16 stone fat, 16 stone in good shape. So I think he mentioned in 1 or 2 interviews Derek Chisora, but I know it was all tongue in cheek, like, do you know what I mean? So he's in a good place, Callum. It was unfortunate what happened, but like I can say, he fought for a world title. He came close with BTBF, won the British and Commonwealth, and was a Commonwealth Games gold medalist. So he can be very proud of himself. Talking about Paul Butler's fight with Naoya Inoue, 2 questions. How do you respond to criticism that people said that maybe he wasn't ambitious enough to win? And secondly, how does Inoue rank in terms of pound-for-pound fighters you've come and get up against personally?
Well, the first one is like, you complain that he gets to 11 rounds, but you were all betting on him getting knocked out within the first 2 rounds, so you can't have your cake and eat it. And I think Tim Bradley summed it up well. We had Inoue where we wanted him in round 7, and the fact that Inoue was getting frustrated, he was taking chances and taking opportunities. Paul did manage to counter him sometimes, and acquitted himself very well. And as good as Inoue is, it took him 11 rounds to finally catch up with Paul. And it wasn't a case of Paul was running around. We've seen worse fighters fight for world titles, but Paul, we had a game plan, and it was suicidal to go out there and have a shootout with a shooter. So it was a lot of technique, a lot of movement. We parried a lot of shots, we slipped, we rolled, didn't get really hit clean until the later rounds down the straight. Paul landed with some good shots, countering, and there was no effect from Inoue when Paul did land his big shots. But listen, no one gave him a chance, and the fact that he went at 11 rounds was a credit to him, and his boxing skill, his boxing range. Some people in boxing these days just haven't got a clue about boxing, and so it disappoints me that.
And moving on to Natasha Jonas, brilliant year for her. What's next?
Well, Natasha, listen, she's had a fantastic 2022. We're in talk with a couple of parties at the moment of a fight, possibly April time. There's talk of Carissa Shields, that's an ongoing conversation. There's also Cecilia Brackhouse. There's also an opportunity maybe to move down a weight or 2 divisions. All that's up in the air at the moment, but we're sitting down and speaking to people over the next 4 or 5 days, and hopefully we'll have something. But she's achieved everything she needs to achieve, Natasha. I think it was one of the success stories of 2022. I was just a little bit disappointed she didn't get what's the word I'm looking for, a nomination for Sports Personality of the Year during the final 6. I think she was well worthy of it. I think she's one of the best comeback stories of 2022, and but like I say, Natasha's going to be able to retire in the next year or so. Very happy with what she's achieved in her life, and what a year for her and Paul Butler.
And this fight, Liam Smith, Chris Eubank Jr, you've been in the corner with Liam Smith. How do you see this fight playing out, and do you think Chris is underestimating Liam at all, or do you think he respects him?
No, I think Roy Jones Jr is a massive fan of Liam Smith. Obviously he's done comms before in his fights, him against Munguia. Roy Jones Jr even said he'd travel all over the world to watch Liam Smith fight. That's how much he likes him. So him and Ronnie Davis know it's a tough fight. Chris can say what he wants. You can see by the body language at the end of the presser. I think Liam Smith came off better with it, and Chris was a little bit shook more than getting anyone on the skin. But Liam's Liam. We've seen Liam Smith against Liam Williams 1, where he can be in the mix. If you want the fight, we'll have the fight. Or in the second fight, you can box in the back foot and put a masterclass on. And I think there needs to be a bit of both of that for Liam Smith to win that fight, and I think he will do. I think at 160, he had a couple of fights with me at 160, and it was very good. The snarling, strong, effective puncher of Liam Smith is in effect. So I expect Liam Smith to win down the straight.
Obviously, Ben Shalom said Chris Eubank Jr is the biggest name in British boxing outside of Fury and Joshua. And one thing I wanted to pick up on, that's why I've got my phone out, is a tweet from Cole Frampton, who said, bar Fury and AJ, KSI and Tommy Fury will leave boxing having made more money than any other UK active fighter. What do you make of the whole argument when it comes to these YouTubers, and does boxing need to do more in your opinion?
100%. I just said to someone else before, this is year 2023 where boxing has to pull its socks up. The best have to fight the best. We're starting the year off well. We've got Beterbiev Yard coming up, which is a good fight. There's talk of Lomachenko and Haney, which is a good fight. Tyson Fury v Usyk. We all want to see Spence Crawford. There's talks about Stephen Fulton versus Inoue. But this is a year where boxing really has to put the best against the best. And in boxing, there's a bit of a stigma, really. It's hard boxing. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If fighters are on YouTube or on social media and they try to promote themselves, they get a lot of stick and say you should concentrate on your boxing and your training. And where YouTubers are on YouTube or on social medias, and they're getting the fans and they're getting the attention, they're getting the draw. So when they turn up to events like last week at the O2 and crowds are queuing up at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. and the stadium's full from start to finish, something's got to be a little bit said. Maybe the promoting side of it has got a little bit out of touch a little bit. I don't know, but it's a big year for 2023. We've got to absolutely get back in touch. I think the demographics of kids from 14 to 18 in watching boxing is very, very, very low. They're into MMA, UFC, or like you say, the misfits boxing, that type of thing. We've got to get them back. And it isn't just the era where we all grew up, where we watched Ben and Eubank and everything else. Over in America, you got Oscar De La Hoya, who fought everyone and anyone. All the best fought the best, and it's the time now we've got to get boxing, and best has to fight the best. And I think broadcasters have to be a little bit more stronger, and the promoters have to be a little bit stronger, that if the best ain't got to fight the best, then that's it, then you'll have to move on somewhere else.
And on to the heavyweights, Anthony Joshua looks like he's going to go
There's
with
an example, Anthony Joshua saying you need a warm-up for Dylan White. There's the problem straight away. Anthony Joshua, who's one belt away from being undisputed, needs a warm-up for Dylan White. You've just answered the problem straight away. So
just on that, if you, from a trainer's perspective, how would the trainer be looking at this situation, or the promoter, because you've been you're a promoter as well? How do you look at it when you've got a guy like Joshua, who's such a big name but has come off the back of 2 losses? How do you look at it?
In what sense? In
the sense that, do you agree at all? I know what you've just said, but is there some thought that he needs to just get a win and some confidence?
No, I don't. It's in a gym. It's fun world over a gym. You can get them type of opponents sparring. Bring them in, get top class sparring. Now, we know years ago Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes, they all had the tick-over jobs, but you've beat Dylan White. Dylan White's been knocked out twice in his last 5 fights or something like that. I don't understand. Something similar to that. But no, get the quality sparring in. You're over in America now. No, come back at a level, whether it be, I can't think off the top of my head, but Luis Ortiz or somebody there or thereabouts in the top 10 anyway. Do you know what I mean? And make an announcement, I'm back and let's go. Do you understand? Why do you want to warm up for Dylan White? Why are you fighting Dylan White? If you're a big London fight Joe Joyce. That's a big London fight. Fight Daniel Dubois. There's another fight. Do you understand? So
And just on one thing on that, when people talk about this, they always come up with the counter that, well, Fury had warm-up fights arguably before Deontay Wilder with Schwartz and Otto Wallin. I mean, Otto Wallin's proved that he's a very solid contender, but what do you think of that argument when people say that?
Yeah, I understand that. Tyson Fury was out for a long time, mental health issues, ballooned up in weight, came back. But he's fought Deontay Wilder 3 times, and he's going to fight Inoue.